profit booking over the last couple of trading days. ICICI Bank has come in as well, and the target price range that you're talking about is almost what, a 1550 to a 1900. Your views when it comes to both of these large banks and the sector as a whole?
Good afternoon, Hira. No, I think we remain constructive on the sector, but selective. Having said that, I think for ICICI Bank, our own expectations is a solid growth expected to come through, specifically on the advances part. The deposit should remain quite steady as well, and therefore I think the overall credit deposit growth should be reasonable as we speak. On the other hand, the expectations in terms of stability in NIMs should continue for the bank, and asset quality pressures should not be profound. I think it should continue at a steady pace as we head into Q3 or the second half of this fiscal year as well. Adequately provided for, and therefore the PCR is well provided for, including, I think, the treasury gains that ICICI is reporting. Specifically when it comes to the retail part of advances, well diversified. And therefore, I think our own sense is that return ratio should probably have a steady show going forward. So out of the large cap names, I think ICICI Bank is one of our top holdings when it comes to BFSI private banks, both in our domestic as well as global portfolios.
The IT space, would you look more from the perspective of the outlook heading into the end of the year?
Afternoon, Alex. So, absolutely. I think management commentaries are going to be key for the sector as a whole. And therefore, I think the comparison between large cap IT and mid cap IT, which obviously draws some parallels in terms of how the valuation stack up is. Large cap, no two ways. I think valuations very much in favor compared to its own standard mean deviations over the last 5 years, and specifically compared to the mid-cap IT pack. However, I think it's a traditionally and a seasonally weak quarter, Q3. How Q4 will shape up in terms of discretionary spending patterns is anybody's guess, in lieu of what happens to tariffs and respective sectors within the US itself, whether it's BFSI, retail, manufacturing. And therefore, I think if you probably look at the construct of a lot of management commentaries in Q2, specifically mid-cap IT companies, they seem to be a lot more constructive on a whole host of parameters, whether it's constant currency, revenue growth, whether it's the pricing environment, whether it's the EBIT margin contribution, whether it's the H1B visa scare also, which does not affect them too much as the large cap, which have also mitigated the risk to a large extent. But I think if you put all these factors put together and then stack up the valuation, which is expensive compared to large cap IT, I think you're at least seeing some element of stable earnings growth happening. Again, I think in terms of AI-related initiatives, platforms, I think a few of the mid-cap IT companies have started building those as we speak, because scaling up of these operations on the base that they operate out of is far easier compared to the large-cap players. And therefore, our view in terms of the sector as a whole is veering a tad bit towards mid-cap IT. Persistent emphasis, as I've time and again said, is something that we continue holding in our globe.
That's very quick view from Mayuresh Joshi on the AMCs. Look, it's not a brilliant number, 28,000 odd crore rupees into active equities, which is slightly lower than the previous month. But there are several positives as well. Do you have a positive coverage on any one of these AMCs?
So HDFC AMC, Alex, out of the lot, I think is something that we still continue holding in our global portfolios. Our sense is that the kind of flows that keep on coming through structurally over the next few months, quarters and years are going to be way higher than what we are looking at. Second, I think in terms of their business model itself, it's basically like a funnel where they've created a business model where operating costs are now very well defined. Now, any incremental income or revenue or AUM growth that keeps on happening will directly benefit the bottom line, both because of the operating efficiencies that they have built into their business model and technological innovations that will still keep on happening to ensure that costs probably remain at reasonable levels. Once that happens, and in lieu of the TER ratios as well, even if you account that,
every great idea starts with inspiration. Then you need the
ensure that the numbers on the operating front and the bottom line are way, way higher over the next 4 to 5 years as we speak. So it's a structural story. You can't view these stocks every month or 2 months. Anybody having that view should continue holding. We definitely are holding them in our globe.
The railway stocks, I would like to ask your view on the RVNL front.
So Sharad, I think the expectation largely is that there should be a significant allocation as we head into the budget for the sector as a whole and for the entire ecosystem. When you're talking about railways, you're talking about safety systems, signaling systems, the track relaying systems as well, including rolling stock. And therefore, I think interesting space where allocation will be large, where orders should start coming through in a very reasonable fashion. And therefore, I think within the space itself, I think TexRail, from a rating ranking perspective at MarketSmith India, probably looks a tad bit more interesting. RVNL has done a fair share in terms of how it has moved, and all these tailwinds will work in favor of RVNL as well. The only hiccup for stocks like a Texmac or a Titagar, as an example, will be how do they exponentially expand their margins? Because somewhere I think the margins might get stuck up at 11.5%, 12%, which means they'll need to get in those operational efficiencies or otherwise, or operating leverage to kick in to have a better showing on the bottom line. Outside that, in my opinion, again, I think RVNL a good stock to hold, but TexRail is something where I think a large mix in terms of wagon orders, rolling stock, etc., can actually play out positively in its numbers going ahead.